Welcome back. Season 2, Episode 2 of Griddyiron Gang. We're just going to jump right into it today. What we got is a preview of the long-awaited, highly anticipated Week 1 of the NFL season. First game we have, Thursday Night Football, the Detroit Lions on the road facing the defending Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs. My brother, how you think this one's going to go?
There's a lot to prove in this one, especially on the Lions side of things with how much talk they've been getting this past offseason. And the news that I heard yesterday or today about Kelsey hyperextending his knee.
That's big.
In practice. If he is out, that's a huge blow to that offense, even though they still have Patrick Mahomes and some weapons over there. But besides Mahomes, the heart and soul of that offense is Travis Kelsey. We all know that, how valuable he is in the pass game, obviously along with the run game too, with his run blocking ability. But and then you're missing Chris Jones on the defensive side of things. We don't know how long that's going to last. And that defense is highly susceptible to giving up big plays. And there's multiple holes on that side of the ball. And then you look at the Lions, they've got a lot of pressure on their shoulders because of all the hype they've been getting. And, they've added a few pieces in the draft, free agency. They still got Dan Campbell, who, the players love playing for. And, he's going to always be out to prove something until he gets the job done. I think we're going to see a very fired up Detroit Lions team getting the first overall game of the year, Thursday Night Football, nationally televised. You hardly hear about Detroit getting these type of games. So for me, with the Kelsey news and everything, and the way I'm seeing, bets being wagered, I'm kind of believing the hype in the Lions to, prove something this game. And I think, I'm not going to call it a Super Bowl hangover by any means for the Chiefs because they're not a team to fall into that trap. But I think with how fired up this Lions team is going to be, I don't know if the Chiefs are going to have a lot of answers, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So for me, I feel like this game is going to be a shootout, but give me the Lions by a field goal.
Wow. Okay, so I for sure feel like this would be a shootout. It's a strength versus weakness on both sides. Probably 2 top 5 offenses going into the season. And I think also going into the season, Detroit might be that darling pick of everybody's favorite team to make a big jump this season. I know a lot of people having them winning the division over your Vikings. We can talk about that in a little bit, but they have a lot to prove, like you said. And when they look across that sideline, offensively at least, they should be like, okay, this is who we aspire to be. And I think they're going to be close to reaching that goal. I think the weapons they have on offense are really going to be dangerous and going to be a problem for a lot of teams, if not every team that they play this year. For both teams, though, like you said, defense is going to be the key. I am concerned about Kansas City especially. We know Detroit is not notorious on that side of the ball for being great. Kansas City isn't either, but they do have some guys and have had some guys over the past years who have been big and made big plays, whether it be Frank Clark, Ty Matthew, and now Chris Jones, who they have over there, who may be out till week 8. The fact that the defensive backfield is already susceptible to big plays, I think that's going to be a huge loss for this Kansas City team. Detroit, though, I think that's a little bit of a steep challenge to go opening night into Kansas City to get that dub. So I'm going to go Kansas City slightly. I don't know what the spread is, but you said Detroit by 3. I can see Kansas City winning that game by 3. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means.
Yeah, I think Kansas City's favored 6.5 right now.
It's that much?
Yeah.
Damn.
So I think a lot of bets are being placed on the Lions right now to cover that. And that's, for me, I think for them I think Detroit's easily going to cover that spread just because of the high scoring nature this could be. Mm-hmm. And, but at the same time on the, me picking the Lions this game against the Super Bowl, the defending Super Bowl champs is not me, saying they're going to win the division or they're going to, go to the NFC Championship or anything. I just think it's the first overall NFL game of the season. There's a lot of emotions that play into it with it being nationally televised. You're the only game on at night. And you're the first game to kick off the whole season. So I think the Lions can get a sneaky win here. And teams like the Chiefs, I have no issue with them taking the game one loss or getting a little bit of a slow start to the season because we already know who they are. You see this same game middle of the season, later in the season. I'm probably not picking the Lions. So it's one of those games where I just feel like the Lions were blessed with this opening game against this big of a team where they can just get a sneaky win and get off to a good start. But this is also going to tell this game, if they do pull this off, it's going to tell us a lot about the Lions going forward in the next few weeks. Do their heads get too big? Do they get too far ahead of themselves? Because I already know if the Chiefs lose, we already know how they're going to bounce back. They're going to have a point to prove. So, and I don't think that being said, if the Lions lose, what Lions do you get? Do you have a team that's going to really bounce back and still be able to prove some, or are you going to have that same old Lions organization that kind of tucks their tail between their legs and doesn't know how to move forward in a positive manner, and they just kind of fumble their season away? So this is going to be a very key game in the Lions' schedule as a whole, and will tell us a lot about them going forward.
I mean, they gave us a great favor for this game on opening night. I didn't know what it was until you told me last time I saw you, and I was excited to hear that. So I'm for sure going to be watching every second of this game tomorrow. You did mention Detroit is a sneaky team this season, might get a sneaky win tomorrow, Thursday Night Football. Two sneaky teams, I think, in the NFL this year, Tennessee and New Orleans. We have the Titans on the road facing the Saints. Two teams that'll probably go in between 7-10 wins, but are also, sleepers to win their division. I think Tennessee's probably counted out with Jacksonville in there. New Orleans, they're probably in more of a contention with Carolina and Atlanta, but nobody's really talking about the NFC South division. So I think New Orleans is going to fly under the radar, and they do still have some pieces, although Alvin Kamara will be suspended over the long haul. I think New Orleans will be in contention up until week 17, 18 in the NFC South, just like that race went down last year. Yep. For this game, though, we all know New Orleans is a tough place to play. Not a lot of teams can travel, and not a lot of teams can travel to a place like New Orleans. I think Tennessee is one of the few teams who can be successful in an environment like that. And if they do start Tannehill, I do have Tennessee in this game because I think they have enough weapons offensively, enough on the defensive side, and a good coaching staff. Whereas New Orleans, they have a new quarterback. I'm not too sure how I feel about their head coach and Mr. Allen over there. So there are more questions in New Orleans for me personally than there are in Tennessee. So I'm going to have to go Tennessee in a close game over the Saints in this one.
Yeah, this is an interesting one for me. Just because I mean, we know Tennessee's got D-Hop. They still got Derrick Henry. They're a very well-coached team. I'm not so sold on Dennis Allen being a head coach, especially for the Saints. But they also got Derek Carr. They got Chris Olave. They got Jamal Williams. Kamara is out for, 3 games or something like that?
3 or 4, yeah.
But I think Jamal is very good enough to, hold his place and do a lot of the things he can while he's out, even though he's not as dynamic.
No question.
But for me, I just don't know until I see it with the Saints. I don't know what to believe. So I got to pick Tennessee in this one just because they are still who they have been with a very key component now on offense in their I just said his name and now I'm blanking.
Derek Carr?
No, I'm talking about the Titans. D-Hop.
Oh, D-Hop.
Yeah, so that gives them. I mean, last year you look at them and they're barely able to pass the ball for any sort of success. You throw a healthy D-Hop in there, and who's looking to prove something, and he made a surprise pick with signing with the Titans. You take a little pressure off of Derrick Henry. Tannehill is still a solid quarterback. He's nothing special, but he is very solid, and he can win you games. And I think the spread is only 3.5 right now in favor of the Saints, I believe. So with that being said, give me the Titans all day.
Next, we can move on to Houston, traveling up to M&T Stadium to take on yours truly, the Baltimore Ravens. This game, we obviously are going to expect, or we're going to witness the debut of C.J. Stroud, rookie quarterback out of Ohio State. We're going to see Will Anderson on the other side of the football trying to get after Lamar Jackson. I've liked what this Houston team has done over the past few years. I think a lot of people on paper are going to say this is a blowout, and I think last time I saw this spread, it was 10, 10 and a half, or something like that. I think that's way too much. I think Baltimore has some questions to answer this year, and a lot of them are going to be on defense. A lot of them are going to be with Lamar Jackson. Is he going to be able to work with the new scheme? Is he going to be able to click with the wide receivers? We know the run game is going to be there. It's always going to be there. But defensively, we also have some questions that we haven't really had in the past. We lost Marcus Peters, and now Marlon Humphrey is dealing with a little bit of an injury. He just had surgery. His status for game one is uncertain. So I'm not too confident in Baltimore, like the spread would say. I do think about 6, 7 point victory, though, which in some people's eyes, that's a pretty handy win. But I think this game's going to be closer than a lot of people expect, honestly.
I'm actually surprised to hear you say that, because looking at the 10-point spread, you would say, like, especially for a week one game, that's too much. But I just think, and I stand on this very firm, is this is going to be, to me, a game that Lamar and company come out and say, here we are. Welcome to our world. Like, this is what you're getting all season long.
You would like it
And
to be a statement game like they had a couple years ago against Miami, where Lamar had more touchdowns than incompletions. Because
yeah,
that's really how you feel like this game should go.
and that's just how I feel, and I truly believe that. I think this is easily a 13-point victory game for Baltimore. Especially because also I do like what DeMeco Ryans is going to do over in Houston. I think he's going to have that defense playing very well. They got some great players over on that defensive side now. You're going to see a big year from Will Anderson. I think Derek Stingley is going to have even better year, more productive. What's his name? The safety who was a rookie last year, Petrie.
Yep. Petrie from, I think, Baylor, maybe.
Yep.
Yep.
Who he had a pretty surprising productive rookie season, but so he's made a name for himself. The only thing, and obviously Damian Pierce at running back, and I mean you got Robert Woods at wide receiver, which to me isn't anything much to really help your young quarterback, and that's why I think going against a team like the Ravens, who are always ready to go and well coached, I think the offense is just going to be too much for Houston's defense, even though they're up and coming. But I look for C.J. Stroud. He's just not going to be able to keep up or do enough to keep them within striking distance of Baltimore, and that's what I look at it.
That may be what I'm overestimating a little bit. I think C.J. Stroud could be 15 for 22, 178 yards and control the game, but he could also be 13 to 24 or 2 interceptions and a turnover on down somewhere in there or something in this. So you know what I mean? So I can see it going both ways for them.
And for me, like for the Texans to be, within 6, 7 points at the end of the game, Damian Pierce is going to have a huge game, and I just can't see that happening against this defense. And C.J. Stroud, like I said, he's just not going to be going out there putting up explosive plays with his arm his first game out. And maybe he proves me wrong, but I don't see it happening against a team that's really well coached as the Ravens are. And I mean, I just think with obviously we got to see what Todd Monken has in store for this offense as an OC, but Lamar being paid what he wanted to be paid, he's staying in Baltimore. He's got his boys around him out on the outside. He's still got and Mark Andrews. Come on, dude. This offense is going to be very explosive, and they have multiple weapons. So you can't just key in on one or two guys. You got to key in on the whole group of the receivers, the tight ends. Like, I think people are underestimating the Ravens this year, and that's fair enough because of what they've been putting out on the field and not being able to stay healthy, but I think it's going to be a wake-up call to the NFL that, hey, the Ravens are a team everyone's got to watch out for.
I can see anything anywhere from 9 to 13 wins, but I have heard some people say that we will finish last in the division, and that is just buffoonery, if you ask me.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Moving on, we have Tampa Bay on the road at the Vikings. Take it from here, sir.
Look, so this comes down to, for me, what is the Vikings defense going to look like, and how are we going to come out and play? Can we get a couple of takeaways that really swing the game in our favor? Because I already know what to expect really with our offense. We should be putting up points. I think we're going to be a team that can score with the best of these offenses in the league. It's a matter of, can our defense put enough pressure and attack teams the way we should have been doing last year? What's B-Flow going to put out on the field Sunday to make us more confident than what we are right now? And to me, it's a great game to start off with, because what better kind of quarterback to go feast on than Baker Mayfield at home?
Kidding.
And so as much as I want to say, hey, this is an easy blowout, it's not, because you saw what our defense did last year. No game was ever easy for us. So with this, and the point spread being, Vikings by 6, I think we should cover that. Like, we should be 7 to 13 point win. Hopefully on the higher side of that, because if you get a double-digit victory, you kind of make a statement. Not that it's a great one against a lowly Buccaneers team, but at least it's not a one-score victory.
No, right. That's definitely what you want to go into the game looking to do, because I think the biggest thing for the Vikings over the past few years, when they have had one of the better teams in the NFC, is they play down to their competition. So I think 13 points should be a fairly easy win given what Tampa Bay's roster looks like. You have Baker Mayfield, who probably isn't a starting quarterback, starting that quarterback. You lost Ryan Jensen probably for the year, maybe for his career. Yep. So your offensive line is taking a hit. Mike Evans, I don't think he's going to play week 1 if he doesn't sign his contract. So he might not even be available against the Vikings. So, I mean, this is the perfect storm for Minnesota and a new defensive coordinator to try all the tricks that they want to try, knock out all the kinks that they have from preseason against a team like Tampa Bay. I think this is going to be a wash. I feel more confident in Minnesota over Tampa Bay than I do Baltimore over Houston. So I think you guys shouldn't have any problems with the Buccaneers at all.
Yeah, and if we come back on Monday talking like, what the hell were we doing, or what happened, it's gonna be a long season.
It's gonna get ugly. Yeah,
it's gonna be a long season.
Don't get any easier.
Like, hey, bro, this game, I'm amped for Sunday. Number one, obviously, because it's NFL season. Your squad plays, my squad plays. Like, it's a whole fresh slate. But the way preseason goes, especially with the Vikings, we don't really ever play starters. We don't give, so that takes, how are they going to look that first game out? Are things going to mesh the right way? And with B-Flow, he said all offseason, like, he's pretty much having Harrison Smith and Jordan Hicks and Harrison Phillips making checks and calling the defense. He said, this is their defense. I'm just helping put it together. So he's not a guy who's play calling the whole lot this year. He's handing it over to his vets and saying, what do you think we should run? I'm giving you the keys. Like,
how you feel about that?
It makes me nervous, don't get me wrong, but I feel like if you got guys veteran wise, as like a guy like Harrison Smith and Jordan Hicks,
they know
very smart football players. And I feel like after what we experienced last year, they know we have to be on the attack. Harrison knows he can't play ball hawk he can't sit back. He's an aggressor. He's got to fly off the edge. He's got to, that's the biggest thing I'm looking forward to. I already know what the offense is capable of. Let me see what this young defense can do with different looks, different disguises, different stunts, blitzes. As long as we're pressuring and attacking, we're already 2 steps ahead of what we were last year.
No question. Moving on, we have what I think has game of the week potential, and which may end up being the game of the week, is the San Francisco 49ers on the road at Pittsburgh. I think if there's a place that I don't want to go week one, it's
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. I mean, we already know what they represent, bro. That defense is a monster. And if you give Tomlin 7 months to prepare for you, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. And not only that, Brock Purdy didn't finish last season because he was injured. He's coming into this season. Is he 100%? Is he not 100%? Who knows? But Sam Darnold's getting some buzz out there. That offense, we know it has a lot of weapons, but this defense is one of the few units that can match up with them. And if Brock Purdy is going to be the game changer, I might honestly have to go with Pittsburgh in this one. But I'm going to think on it for a little bit because San Francisco is just that good of a team where you have to be hesitant when you make these kind of picks. But
Look,
without
it's
Bosa as well, week one, it's really leaning Pittsburgh for me right now. Honestly,
and Bosa just got that massive contract today.
yeah. So is he
So
coming back then?
I would assume he.
Because that's what he was holding out for. So if you
I,
got the
I would assume
contract,
he's in the lineup.
okay. Well, we know a weakness for Pittsburgh is that offensive line, and then if you're going to put Bosa on the defensive line over there, that could be a game
Look,
changer. Same as T.J. Watt is a game changer on the other side. So
and look, the spread is 2.5 in
I'm gonna
favor
go
of
Pitt.
49ers. That's a fair pick. For me, I don't know if I can go to the Pittsburgh side of things just because of how vocal I have been since middle of the season last year up until now about 49ers, how much I like them in the NFC, how much I like them overall as a roster.
Yeah,
The thing that's
nothing not to
scary
like.
though is the thing that's scary though is, what kind of Purdy do we get this season? Like,
Yeah, to start, is he going to be hesitant? Is he going to be tentative?
now,
He got hurt
and
on
the
a
thing,
routine play.
look, if he comes in, he's healthy, stays healthy, and he's slinging it and he's diming people. I mean, look, you get a good, solid week one win against this Mike Tomlin team. That gives me all the confidence in the world in Purdy for going forward. So for me right now, just because of how vocal I've been in my favor of the 49ers, I'm going to pick the 49ers here. And that's no disrespect to Pittsburgh because I think they're going to have a great year. I respect the hell out of Mike Tomlin. I think they're doing good things. But based on what I saw last year, out of Kenny Pickett, I think he's going to take another step forward this year. But what I saw out of Purdy last year was he was already he came in late and it was already ahead of where Pickett is in their careers. The thing that I want to see this Sunday though is this George Pickens hype real or not with him and Kenny Pickett. Like if he goes out there and dominates, man, and you got a tough test against this San Francisco defense. There's a lot of things to prove on both sides here for 49ers and Steelers. So this like I said, like you said, this probably might be game of the week because it's going to be smash mouth football. And, but there's a lot of, we could go back and forth position to position, who has the edge on this side of the ball, this side of the ball, would you take McCaffrey or
McCaffrey.
Najee? Like, yeah, you know what I mean? I think, and it's a mastermind versus mastermind, offense versus defense.
Yep.
So it's
going to be a beautiful
be
thing to watch.
It's going to be one hell of a game, I think. But, like you said, I think you made a good pick with the Steelers because especially since, they are at home, right?
Yep. Heinz
Okay.
Field.
So, yeah, that's it. And they always have good home field advantage there. So that crowd's going to be rocking. Like I said, smash mouth football. I'm just going 49ers here because I can't say all the things I've said about them and then week one say, no, I think you're going to lose. Like that just doesn't look
no,
right.
for sure. I hear
But,
that.
but I'm not just picking them for that reason. I do believe in them. I do believe they are a better team overall than the Steelers. Even though I think the Steelers are always well coached. Mike Tomlin, he doesn't go below 500. What can you say? He's just an all-time great coach. Shanahan's up and he's not going to say he's an all-time great coach, but he's an up and coming for a spot in that talk. But yeah, it's just going to be an overall good game, and I think. I mean, you got 49ers though. They got injury-prone guys, especially on offensive side of the
No
ball.
question.
Bro.
Yeah.
You just got to stay healthy. Like make it through one week one, getting out of there just injury free, and that's going to be a sigh of relief in itself.
No question. I think the Steelers are kind of getting bitten with that bug a little bit too, especially with TJ Watt. With the past few years, he hasn't been as healthy as you like him to be, especially missing a lot of time last year. Early on in his career too, he missed a lot of time with that knee. So for when he's been on the field, I mean, that dude is as productive as anybody. So I'm interested to see the Watt versus Bosa matchup too. I know they don't go against each other, but who's going to
Yep.
be more effective? We'll go with the division games here at noon o'clock. Noon o'clock, I always do that stupid shit. we have the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road at Indianapolis. Last year, these two teams split the season series. This year, it's probably going to be a wash, and Jacksonville will do what they need to do with Indianapolis because I think the Colts might have the worst team in the AFC and just might have the worst team in the NFL as well. So I expect this game to be easy work for the Jaguars. And I really don't have much to say outside of that.
I agree with you. But do you know that the Jaguars are only favored by 4.5?
Can you tell me why? Why
It
does that
makes
make
no
any
sense.
sense?
I'm pounding the I'm pounding that bet all day long for the Jaguars to cover. Like that's way too low. I mean, you don't got JT.
Nope.
You got a very raw, inexperienced rookie quarterback in Indianapolis who I think Jacksonville is going to take advantage of, especially since it's real games now. Indy's defense is nothing special. You got Calvin Ridley back. It's going to be, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have one of the best week ones out of all quarterbacks this week.
Oh, for sure.
And he's going to kind of cement a name for himself for him to be one to keep watching all year long. And I think that's, a testament also to Doug Peterson because he was a great hire for them to be their head coach. I think he's bringing them back to relevancy. And this is an easy pick. It's just Jaguars all the way. There's no way the Colts can beat them. If they do, shame on me for saying what I'm saying, but there's no one valid reason anyone could give me that would make me believe the Colts were going to beat the Jaguars.
No, there's really not. There's absolutely not. You lost Gilmore in the offseason. Darius Leonard is back, I guess. That's a positive.
He's always
outside
hurt.
Of that, but he is always hurt. I mean, outside of that, bro, Indy's going to be right there with Arizona for me, in my opinion, at the end of the year. Next game, Carolina at Atlanta.
I agree.
Another game. Go ahead.
The only thing I got on that, though, is while I agree them and Arizona probably the two worst, look, Arizona announced that they're starting, what's his name, Joshua Dobbs or whatever, or
they're starting Dobbs instead of Tooney or whatever.
So the only thing, even though AR is raw as hell and inexperienced, I'd still take him to start over either two of those quarterbacks in Arizona. So, in my opinion,
is it because he's younger?
And he's more athletic. He's got a better arm. He's just got to slowly put it together.
If they were all the same age, you still go AR though.
Compared to those two quarterbacks?
Yeah. Like, say, remember Dobbs coming out of Tennessee was pretty decent, low key.
Yeah, but I mean, look, talent wise, all around, it's about a horse apiece. I don't know. I'm still rolling with my Florida guy, though.
No,
I just
know there's a little bias in there.
I just think that, especially after seeing these motivational speeches from the Arizona coach, I think they're the slam dunk for Caleb Williams. And from what I heard today in a rumor from Caleb Williams' dad is that if whoever gets the number one pick is not the right fit for his son, he's staying another year at USC.
Good Lord. Just to sit out, probably.
Who would want to go to Arizona, bro? That's a shit show.
That is absolutely terrible. And I guess since we're talking about it, did you drive here today? Did you take the bus? Did you feel that fire? We have the Arizona Cardinals on the road at the Washington Commanders.
Coach.
Man, that might be the worst thing I've ever seen, man. There's no way I'd want to fucking rip a piece of paper for that guy. He couldn't motivate
Jeez.
me to do anything. This is for sure the stinkiest game of the weekend. Arizona has the potential to go 1-16. This isn't going to be one of those one. I got Washington, even though they are starting Sam Howell at quarterback. So that being the case, anything is possible. I'm not going to put it past Washington to lose this game with that quarterback there, but I got Washington winning this one.
I think this is an easy Washington victory. They're favored by 7. I think they're going to cover as well, mainly because I think the Commanders' defense is very solid still, and Arizona won't have any answers for them. And this is a great warm-up game for Howell to get some confidence in him going forward into week 2.
This will almost be like playing against a shell defense when you got guys like Terry McLaurin and Dotson.
Right.
It's going to give you a lot of confidence going into week 2. Another game of the week potential, in my opinion. We have Carolina on the road at Atlanta, who last year they split the series 1-1 as well. If you guys remember, Carolina had that big play. P.J. Washington, I believe it was, to DJ Moore. DJ Moore throws his helmet off. They lose the game to Atlanta. Could have won them the division down the line, but instead they ended up with the number 1 pick after trading up to get that number 1 pick, and they draft Bryce Young, quarterback out of Alabama. I expect more things from him than I do from Anthony Richardson, than I do from C.J. Stroud. I think he is more NFL ready, although he has the least NFL ready body. I think his game, his poise, his awareness is going to be just what you need for this team to be where I think they expect they're going to be this year on 8-9 wins. He'll be a decent stat guy. I don't think he's going to make too many mistakes. I don't think he's going to win you any games per se, but I don't think he's going to lose you any games either. Atlanta, on the other hand, I really like what this team has been doing offensively, and they did shore up a couple of things defensively this offseason. I think in this game, Atlanta's going to go ahead and take this one at home. I think we're at Mercedes-Benz Stadium or something like that. But for the season, I think this might go split again because I do think these teams are pretty evenly matched.
For me, I've seen a lot of people picking the Falcons in this one, and I just can't fathom to see why. Besides the fact they're at home and they got a guy who can control the clock in Bijan Robinson. You do got Drake London, you got Kyle Pitts, but when do we ever see him being used properly? And I don't have any faith or belief in Desmond Ridder can go out as a second-year quarterback and look much better than Bryce Young.
That's what it comes down to, right? Which quarterback is going to look better? Carolina obviously has a better defense, so the advantage is with them on that side.
And the fact that the spread is at 3.5 favored Falcons, I'll take Panthers all day long in this. I think you got DJ Chark, you got Adam Thielen, you got Miles Sanders. Bryce Young has got a solid cast around him. I think the offensive line is slightly better, but that defense is going to be. I think the defense should be able to handle what Atlanta throws at them fairly well. So
I think Carolina's offense is very Patriot-esque. Has a lot of average to good guys. Nobody great.
I'm gonna go out and say this game comes down to Desmond Ridder turning the ball over more than Bryce Young.
And that's probably expected. I would expect that just from what I've seen for the past 2 years. Haven't seen Bryce Young do it at the NFL level yet. But when Desmond Ridder sat out half the season and then came in, he still didn't really look like he was up to par. Right. I think Bryce Young's going to pick up the game a little bit quicker, given that it's week 1. Who knows what that's going to look like, but Atlanta doesn't have a great defense by any means, so not the worst game to be out there week 1.
Right.
I believe this is our last noon game. We have Cincinnati at Cleveland. Last year, they also split the season series. My biggest concern, I guess, for this game is how does Joe Burrow look after that calf injury, missing a lot of preseason, if not all of preseason? Is he going to start slow? Is his team going to start slow? And if that's the case, I could see Cleveland, stealing a win here in week 1. But I kind of have the same questions for Cleveland. Deshaun was out for 2.5 years. When he came back, he looked like he was the 40th best quarterback in the league. So now we're going to see what he looks like with the whole team and the facilities in the offseason. But those are a lot of questions to be answered still. I'm going to go with who I think has the overall better team and the better coach for this game. If I'm not too certain about the quarterbacks, and that's going to be Cincinnati.
Good. We got a little bit of difference in this podcast right now because
I love it.
I'm going with Cleveland in this one just because I think we're gonna see not to the full extent of what he was, but him starting to get back to who he was before his suspension, and I think we're gonna have a nice little quarterback duel this Sunday between Burrow and Watson. But why I say Cleveland mainly is because I do believe, especially for the early half of the season, Cleveland made some nice pickups on that defensive side of the ball. You're not going to just be able to focus on Myles Garrett. You got Zadarius Smith back there rushing with him. You got Dalvin Tomlinson. Look, that front seven is very formidable.
I love what they did up front.
So, and we're gonna see what can that Cincinnati O-line do against that. What can you give Burrow enough time against this front? We already know the weapons you got on Cincinnati's side of the ball on offense, but I just like a little bit of an upset here with Cleveland. I think Stefanski's got something to prove since he's on the hot seat. And yeah, something tells me the Browns are gonna get it done.
That's fair.
Might be ugly, might be a perfect showing. Who knows? But I do think what I like about this offseason that we just had, you hardly heard anything about Deshaun. I think he's been back in his bag, retooling, getting his confidence back. And just like what I kind of said with like Lamar and the Ravens, I think Deshaun's going to kind of come out and give us a little bit of a show on Sunday.
If Deshaun gets back to what he was, you're going to have 3 top 5-ish quarterbacks in this division. That is scary for me. We'll move on to our 3:30 games. First, we have the Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams were swept by Seattle last year. And in our last episode, I said the good thing for the Rams going into the season is that they have a healthy Stafford, a healthy Aaron Donald, and a healthy Cooper Kupp. Well, Cooper Kupp has a hamstring injury.
He's out.
It's already going downhill for the Rams, man. And I can see Aaron Donald and Matthew Stafford on the trade block pretty soon here, honestly. In this game, Seattle's going to, they're going to go 3 in a row against the Rams. This one's going to be easy work.
Yeah, this is going to be light work for Seattle. This is just another preseason game, but all your starters are playing. And I think it's going to be a coming out party for this offense per se, because you're going to have that highly touted receiver from Ohio State, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Is he going to play?
I think he is. I don't think he's going to have does he have a slight injury or something? That's
he
on the report.
Broke his wrist or broke his hand or something about a month ago.
Oh yeah, but I think they said he would be ready, probably ready for week 1. If he's not, I still think that doesn't really hurt him that much. But if he is healthy enough, that adds just another factor key part to their offense, where now you got one of the best 3-headed receiver rooms in the league. And with how bad I think this Rams defense is going to be, good luck stopping that, especially with what's his name, Kenneth Walker back there.
K9.
And then you got obviously a lot of good young pieces on defense for them now too. So like you said before on the last episode, this is going to be all on Geno if he can repeat what he did last year or even better. Because if he does that, this is going to be a highly touted NFC contending team.
I agree. NFC is wide open. They could easily slide into that. Maybe not division-wise, but they could easily be the 4th best team in the NFC. Next, we'll move on to Soldier Field, where we have the Packers traveling to Chicago. In a game that is probably one of the tougher ones to call for me last year, the Bears were swept by the Green Bay Packers. As we all remember, Aaron Rodgers still owns them. Maybe he doesn't in the Jets organization, but we're going to see at some point, hopefully. In this game here, bro, this is probably the toughest game I had to call all year. I have no idea what Jordan Love is going to look like. I have no idea what Justin Fields is going to look like with some of these new weapons. The Bears defense, I think, got a little better. I think both teams on paper are actually pretty okay. I think Green Bay's roster looks better than Chicago's for
Especially their
sure,
defense. I think their defense
especially
is
on the
better.
defensive side. Yeah, Kenny Clark, Preston Smith, Jair Alexander, all those boys over there, Rashawn Gary and the crew. I think the defensive side of the ball for Green Bay is really going to keep them in a lot of games this year. And for that reason, I did have them beating Chicago slightly. But I think Chicago will probably end up being the better team this year.
Yeah, for me, this is truly one of those like push pick'em games that's
For real.
really even. Could go either way. But I'm gonna say I'm gonna pick the Bears in this one slightly. I think that I think you're gonna get a lot of good things from Justin Fields, but I think we're gonna quickly learn and see what this Fields to DJ Moore connection is all about,
Mm-hmm.
which is scary because they're in our division. And then also, I read somewhere today that both Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson are battling hamstring injuries, which you don't want to hear for two receivers that are your
Jeez.
top two guys. So I think you're going to see if that is true, and if those are nagging injuries, you're not going to see them at top speed if they're able to play. I think you're going to get a lot of ground and pound with that ground game in Green Bay, and a lot of usage in the pass game from Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. So it's going to be how efficient can Jordan Love be when they have the ball, because I think that even though I think the Bears offense will do enough against this Packers defense, who's still very formidable, I just don't think this Green Bay offense, until I see it, that I can confidently say that they can go back and forth with higher, more potent offenses than what they have.
No, that's fair. I think talent is talent, obviously, and you want your best guys out there. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know the third and fourth receiver on Green Bay's depth chart, but I don't think there's that big of a gap between Watson and Dobbs and those guys. And I don't think if this was Aaron Rodgers, he would probably make that third and four look close to a 1 and 2 as possible. But like you said, I think this is going to be a lot of run game, a lot of ground and pound. You have two good running backs, maybe the best running back room in the league. So AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones, I expect a lot out of them this season, but this game especially, that combined with the defense, I think Green Bay is going to go ahead and take this game at Chicago.
All right.
Is
So you got,
combined the word?
I don't know, but you got Green Bay, I got the Bears. All right. So we got a decent amount of games we're different on.
We do. I feel like last year we were pretty damn near matching up on everything, but I like how this is looking so far. Next, we have Las Vegas on the road at Denver. Las Vegas Raiders swept the Broncos last season. We know Denver had a season from hell. They have a new coach in there, Sean Payton, but for the most part, they have the same roster. Do we expect bigger things from Russell Wilson? I'm not sure, but I do expect bigger things from Wilson than I do from Jimmy Garoppolo. I think the defense for the Raiders isn't up to par and isn't what it should be when you're comparing it to the defense for the Denver Broncos. For that reason, I do have the Broncos winning this game at home to start the season off.
Yeah, let me just say I do have the Broncos as well, but it's an ugly pick for me because this game I kept going back and forth on, because these are two non-exciting teams and have a lot of issues, but I like Sean Payton over Josh McDaniels. I'll take Russell Wilson over Jimmy Garoppolo, but I got to see a lot more out of Jerry Jeudy. Javonte Williams has got to take another step forward. Look, Russell Wilson's getting older. He's clearly been showing it. Any way to take the pressure off of him from having to be that dual threat guy constantly.
I actually think Judy's out this game now that I think about it.
Jeudy is out?
Turf toe or some shit like that.
Well, either way, I'm not excited about this game regardless. I just think Broncos should be the favorites and slightly win this game, even though I think this is one of the uglier games of the week one.
This is a matchup between two teams that could probably go between 7 and 10 wins, similar to the Tennessee-New Orleans game.
Yeah.
But I don't feel the same about this one as I do that one. I just don't want to tune into this one at all.
No.
And I'm kind of upset that I'm going to have to, at least for a little bit. Next, we have Philly on the road at New England. The runner-ups of the Super Bowl will travel to Foxborough to play probably the best coach ever in a revamped offense, new offensive coordinator, a couple more weapons over there. Juju Smith-Schuster, Ezekiel Elliott, Mike Gesicki. I am kind of interested to see what this New England Patriots offense is going to look like this year. I think the defense is the defense. It'll probably be middle of the pack to borderline top 10, just like it usually is. I think Mac Jones, like I said last week, is going to take a little bit of a jump from what he did his rookie year and, be more productive along those lines. Philly, though, I mean, I tried to be pessimistic and find something about Philly that I didn't like. And what was I going to say? They had 70 sacks last year. Okay, what are they going to have? 63 this year? Like, I mean, they're not going to duplicate a top five offense defense combination. Okay, well, they'll probably be top seven or something like that. I mean, there's not really anything that you can say about Philly. And even when you say that, you don't believe it. I mean, they have no weakness. You believe in their coach after what you saw last year. You believe in their quarterback. They believed in their quarterback. They gave him a big check this offseason. They revamped every position. They filled every position with depth. What can you say, man? New
Right.
England's going to have their hand full. They're going to have their hands full.
They are. And you said this is at New England or at Philly?
Foxborough.
All right. So being week 1 in Foxborough, you got Bill O'Brien as OC in New England now. You finally have an OC who's
A pretty
worked
good
with
one as well.
right, and he's worked with Mac Jones.
Yep. Roll
So
Tide.
I think we're gonna see a much better, much different version of this New England offense than we did last year. I think last year kind of makes you forget about New England and who they are, especially with Bill Belichick still being the coach.
Right.
Regardless if they're middle of the pack defense or not, I think he still has some stuff up his sleeve, especially when he's had all offseason to prepare for the other team who was in the Super Bowl. And he wants to make a statement against them. They're at home. I'm not going to be surprised if the Patriots can sneak this one out, but I'm going to pick the Eagles in a close one because I think the Patriots are going to battle them till the end no matter what. And this will be probably in one of the ones in the running for game of the week for me, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I really do like New England's defensive backfield. I do have questions about their run game now that they lost Damian Harris. There's going to be a lot of Ramondre Stevenson, which I don't think he's elite by any means, but he is very solid.
Nothing
I just think,
exciting, but
nothing exciting at all, but he can get the job done for sure.
yeah.
I just think they're just going to outclass New England. And I know I said about Pittsburgh, there's no place you want to go to week 1, or however I phrase that. Not a lot of places you want to go to week 1. Pittsburgh's for sure on the top of that list. I think New England's for sure up in that top 5 as well, with just the coach, the environment, the atmosphere, everything that goes along with that New England lore. You know what's coming when you go to Foxborough. So Philly has their hands full as well, but I think just they're going to outclass New England in this game.
Yeah, I think. Well, and then speaking of this, new season, Philly pretty much got the same team with a few revamps at certain positions. You lost your D coordinator, so that
They might have lost
how's
the
this new
OC
D
too.
coordinator? Was it one? I think one of them went to Indy. One of them went to Arizona.
Okay.
So you kind of gotta, that's a whole different ball game with bringing in 2 new guys, game planning their game plans and this and that, and how players respond to them on those sides of the ball. But also, as the head coach Sirianni, okay, you did what you did last year, but can you still be that coach to bring together your whole team as one and have this type of season again? I mean, we've seen many times before where teams go to the conference championship or go to the Super Bowl and damn near have the same roster or even slightly better next year, and there's just something off and we're not getting the same production. So this is going to be one of the first tests in seeing, can you replicate that? Because in the next week, just like last year, week 2, primetime game on a Thursday night against the Vikings. I mean, it's almost deja vu. So can you replicate that? And can you be the Philly of old, but be better and get to your ultimate goal of hoisting that Lombardi? I don't know. So I think they still have stuff, tricks up their sleeve, especially offensively with how many weapons they have. But also at the same time, you got a whole remarkable season on tape for teams to dissect now.
So earlier we had the Stink Bowl between Arizona and Washington. Now we have the Disappointment Bowl between the Miami Dolphins and the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers won this matchup last year, 23-17 in December. I think the biggest question for me is the coaching staff for the Chargers. Are they going to be able to put all this talent together? On paper, it's probably a top 5 roster, but I think the coaching staff, with combination of the quarterback, need to get this team over the hump this year. On the Miami side, they're going all in. They've had some big injuries to key guys. Tua is obviously the big question here. I think they can deal with the Jalen Ramsey injury until he gets back, if he gets back. Tua was considering retirement this offseason. When that's on your guy's mind and he's going into the season as your starting quarterback and he's not 39 years old, we have some questions. And I don't know if those questions have really been addressed. I do like the backup quarterback situation out there. I think it's serviceable. But that's really just a big concern for me from Miami. And I think as a sleeper team to be under for your over-under, I think Miami would be my sleeper team to go under. So I have LA winning this game week 1.
I think this is an easy pick. I think this is LA all the way. You're at home. Give me Justin Herbert all day over Tua. Look, Jalen Ramsey's out. Yeah, they might be able to hold up until he's back, but to me, in my eyes, it's just this Miami offense is such a one-trick pony so far. It's you're not throwing the deep ball with Tua.
Throw a slant here, throw a slant there.
You just got jam Waddle and Tyreek off the line. Do not let them separate. Underneath.
Mm-hmm.
You got a couple running backs that are decent, but is it enough to put fear in the defensive front's hearts? I don't think so. And like I said, you get the Chargers game 1 when they're all healthy, and when they are all healthy, this Chargers team's one of the best teams in the league.
They're phenomenal
roster-wise. So, and then you add in Eric Kendricks to man the middle of the defense, who's going to be, I'm guessing, wearing the green dot, controlling that side of the ball, getting his guys lined up. That's a hell of a pickup because we loved him here in Minnesota for all these years he was here doing what he did. He was a great leader. And I think someone like that, and then you still got a leader in Khalil Mack. I mean, watch out for that defense this year. I think this could be the year they put it together.
The defense has been a big question for them, defensive line especially, but I do like what they're doing with Khalil Mack last year and then Hendricks this year. I mean, they're trying to shore up that side of the ball, especially in that middle there. And that's really where their weakness is. So, I mean, kudos to them, but it's just time to put it all together now.
Yep.
2 more games here. Sunday Night Football. We have your Dallas Cowboys on the road at the New York Giants. Of course, I get the Sunday night game.
What better way to start your season off than the Cowboys Sunday Night Football game?
It's going to be game of the week every time they're on TV. Game of the week.
God, dude, get rid of this Dallas crap.
So Dallas swept the Giants last year. I think Dallas is a sleeper team, probably going to finish 3rd in the NFC. I mean, we know how it goes with division. They're probably at the 3rd best record in the NFC. I think the Giants have a chance to get into the playoffs as well. I think this is going to be one of the more competitive games of the weekend. I really like what the Giants did in the offseason. They really didn't get weaker at any position, and they strengthened a couple of those positions that they were weaker in. Bringing over Darren Waller is going to be the big move, obviously, on the offensive side of the ball. They did re-sign Saquon Barkley to that 1-year deal. So everybody's happy. Daniel Jones got his money. He's happy. I mean, with Dayball over there leading the helm, I think the Giants should be decent in this game. But I do have Dallas. They've been quiet. I've liked the things that they've done this offseason. I think they're kind of on a mission, man. They've been disrespected. Dak has been disrespected. I don't like the Giants. I don't like McCarthy. I mean, I don't like the Cowboys. I don't like McCarthy. But I do think they will get this game on the road.
I agree with you, and I should be picking with you, but just give me the fucking Giants because I'm sick of these Sunday night openers at Dallas at AT&T Stadium, trying to get us all hyped in the world for
This is in
Cowboy
New York.
super season.
They're on the road.
Oh, this is in New York. Whatever. I'm surprised it's not at
New
AT&T,
Jersey, whatever it is.
but
No
yeah,
shit though.
that's even better. That's even better though, since it's under the lights in New York. I think. Look. I mean, I will take Dayball over Mike McCarthy any day,
Yep.
and I'll take Wink Martindale over what's his name, who coached the Falcons.
Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn, yeah. I think Dan Quinn's much more of a mastermind on that side of the ball, even though Dan Quinn is a great coach. But I think at this point in time, I think we're looking at almost as if, is this McCarthy's team or is this Dan Quinn's team? Because
That's been the question, yeah.
I think behind the scenes, Dan Quinn is running the show. And until you prove to me otherwise, that's what I believe. I just think Mike McCarthy's got his head so far up his ass and didn't learn a thing from Green Bay.
Well, he's calling plays now, which he did in Green Bay.
And that's what we're gonna see this year. Like, come on, that's what you talked about all the time about being the play caller. But guess what? You had Aaron Rodgers. This is Dak Prescott, bro. So let's see what the season has in store. Don't get me wrong.
Aaron Rodgers was running his own shit anyways.
Don't get me wrong. Dallas has a lot of talent, but the way the Giants snuck into the playoffs last year, got a playoff victory on the road, that kind of sets you up with that confidence going into this season. After a couple pickups, you signed Saquon and re-signed Saquon. You got Darren Waller. I mean, look, they believe in this team, even though it might not be the sexiest on paper. They believe in this team to go out, make noise in the regular season, get to the playoffs again. One of the best things to do, first game of the week, division rival, go punch them in the mouth. And I think this is going to be a fist fight, but give me the Giants slightly, probably by a field goal.
I'm not even mad at that. I could low-key pick the Giants with you, but I already picked Dallas. I do love Deontay Banks. I love Isaiah Simmons. I mean, the Giants are loaded, honestly, bro. If Daniel Jones can put it together, like I said, his stats last season weren't crazy. He could do that again, and this team could be right where they were, if not better.
Look,
so.
And Wink Martindale, he's a great defensive coordinator, bro.
Oh, he's a beast. You ain't got to tell me.
Like, he is. This man is not afraid to be aggressive and pressure your ass all game long and force you into mistakes.
That man will call engage 8 on 3rd and 18.
Yep.
Like, he don't give a fuck, bro. Monday Night Football to cap off the week. We have the Buffalo Bills on the road at the New York Jets. Now, we've talked about some games of the week. This one may end up taking the cake when you consider all the star power included. Obviously, your boy switched from Green Bay to a different green. He's out there in New York. How do you feel about this one?
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm taking the Jets in this one. I think they're at home. New York hasn't been this fired up in however long. You got a little bit of a rival in the Bills coming over. And ultimately, I just think after this year, you're going to see Diggs out of Buffalo. It's going to get to that point where they don't get to where they want to be.
I'm hearing they're not even talking right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the writing's on the wall with Diggs in Buffalo.
Is this a Diggs problem? Because
at the end of the day, at the end of the day, the way things have gone now in Minnesota and now how it looks in Buffalo, this is a Diggs prima donna problem. And I'm sorry to say it, Diggs, as good of a receiver as you are, you're not a JJ, you're not a Devontae. I mean, you're arguably top 5 right now, but you're borderline. You're not. I mean, you're that number 1 receiver a team will feel great to have, but you're not. You don't have the. I'm not going to say that athleticism because you have that athleticism, but you don't have like that. You're not that bigger body wide receiver one with the speed. You don't. You can't. He's more of that. He can get the deep ball, but he's a great under to mid receiver. And for me, I'm not trying to disrespect Diggs or anything, but it's just the attitude problem kind of wears on you. I know as a highly skilled athlete and professional athlete, your ultimate goal is to win the championship in any sport you're in. You want to be a winner, and you've gone and tasted it so close a few different times. Once with the Vikings, once or twice now with the Bills. Look, this comes. It's not. I'm not gonna. It's a Diggs problem, but it's also we're starting to realize that Josh Allen is just not that guy that we thought he was going to be. Because as much as I am, saying certain things about Diggs, the Bills do have quite a bit of weapons around Josh Allen to take this team and win the Super Bowl. That defense has always been solid. I mean, there's no excuse. And for me, with this game alone, I just think as talented as this Jets roster is, defense and now offensively, they're going to go out and look to make this some fireworks on Monday night. And I just don't think. I just think it might be a slap in the face type wake up call that the Bills might need to get them moving in the right direction and get more cohesive as a team. I don't know, but I just see the Jets coming out and making a big statement for this season, week 1, against this type of a team.
I think this is the year for the Bills that they really have to put it together. Like you said, there's no excuse. They're too deep at every position now, both sides of the ball. They put together their deepest roster they can. AFC, unfortunately, is as hard as it's ever been under this Josh Allen regime. But
Right.
this is what the elite quarterbacks do. This is the class that everybody's trying to anoint you into. You're going to have to go out there and prove it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I do have Buffalo winning this game. This is going to be one of the better games of the week. I think Jets, their only weakness is the offensive line. So that's a little bit of a concern for me with the, was it 40-year-old now? Aaron Rodgers? I mean, he's not as mobile as he used to be. We already know he doesn't want to take those hits. He has one of the quicker releases in the league. And if he feels that pressure, he doesn't mind throwing it into the fourth row. So if you do have the money, go ahead, buy your ticket, because I think this Buffalo defense is going to put some pressure on Aaron Rodgers, and you're going to get a lot of balls in the stands this Monday night. I do think the Jets will make their plays, though. They're talented as hell on both sides of the ball. They are going to stay in this game. It's not going to be a blowout by any means, and I do think it will come down to the last 7-8 minutes of the fourth quarter or so. I think what the league did with these primetime games, they set us up real nice. Thursday, Monday, and Sunday night are all really good games. Like I said, though, Buffalo's going to take this one, and I think it's going to, kind of help propel them to where they want to get to. They split the series last year. They're obviously going to look to sweep. I think a split is definitely on the table this year, but if they go out and get this game in New York on the road, I think that's right where they need to be, right where they should be. Anything else to add?
We'll come back on Monday and see. We'll come back on Monday and see how we fared in our picks. Like I said, this year we are going to keep track of these picks and see who comes out on top at the end of the season. Because last year we didn't really do a good job at that. Getting this thing kicked off and going. But I think being able to have this as a visual, seeing how accurate we are with our picks, kind of validates us and what we're talking about. And obviously we're not going to get every pick right, but it helps validate that we know what we're talking about and we're in the right space for talking this NFL game. We used to ball. We've had our heads in the NFL and even college ball for as long as I can remember. And look, I'm just fucking excited that it's the 2023 NFL season. Feels like we just got done recording the Super Bowl recap a few weeks ago, but 7 months flew by, and now we're here kicking off week 1. And man, am I ready to go? Every week is gonna be something new.
Hey man, I'm ready to go, man. I got nothing else to say. Thursday night is going to be a great game. Expect a lot of fireworks, a lot of new weapons for both teams. I couldn't be more excited, bro.
Yeah, and if you don't know, We will have an extra episode per week coming out this year. Last year we only had 2. This year we're going to have 3, just kind of split it up a little more, kind of shorten the episodes, so to speak. But yeah, so hopefully this schedule works out for everyone out there who watches. We appreciate your support, and make sure you go like, follow, get this thing out there. And hopefully, sometime during the season, maybe we can do a little bit of a live stream test, see how that goes, see who tunes in, wants to interact with us, ask questions. But yeah, as we keep this thing going, week after week, year after year, there's going to be more things to come that get this thing more, fan interactive, and be able to kick it with us and give us your opinions as well, because we can only hear ourselves talk so much without that criticism and without that friendly support, and ideas and whatnot, because we want to see this thing get taken off the ground and go places. But yeah, and that starts now, week 1, 2023 NFL season. And like I said, we appreciate your support, and we're looking forward to the many weeks ahead for this season until we end with the recap day after the Super Bowl in February.
Yes, indeed, man. I echo everything my partner said. We appreciate y'all. That's it for me. Until next time.